Well, I'd done sports for a long time. I wasn't unfit, so losing weight was not my main preoccupation. But I had constant pains in my back, in my legs. I have some issues with, I have hip surgery, bilateral, and one of the legs is slightly shorter than the other. So I found that doing a lot of aerobic exercise and going to classes, Zumba and HIIT classes, and I did lots of stuff, but I was always in pain. I always had back pain, shoulder pain, low back pain, hip pain. So I thought I need to get some professional advice about what I could do to keep up a really active lifestyle, but at the same time avoid the pain. And I've looked up a couple of potential personal trainers in Bristol, and Kieran's name came up as being a specialist in injury and recovery, and that's exactly what I was looking for. I was looking for somebody who was specifically trained to do both personal training in a kind of sports-oriented personal training, but being very careful about avoiding injury. So that's how I ended up doing my 3. The best results was the disappearance of pain. Well, there's still some good pain coming in, you know, when you train real hard, which you're supposed to be getting a little bit of. But by and large, the back pains that I've experienced are pretty much gone. I mean, he's focused more on strength training, which I'd done before, but not as much as I should have, because I wasn't sure about exactly how to lift, how much to lift, the proportion of, you know, weight and reps and sets, how many of them, how to combine them, you know, all of these things. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can find online, but if you're not a specialist, you can't really combine it properly. So I was looking at that as well when I started, because I figured that just doing cardio is not going to help me in the long run with my injuries. And I enjoy strength training. I really like being stronger. So what I achieved is I got stronger. Definitely I got stronger than I was 3 months ago. I mean, I can tell by the amount of kilos I can lift. Also, I think my shape has become more defined, you know, it's leaner, I think, not by a huge amount, because I didn't really need to lose a lot of weight, but combined with pretty good nutrition, protein and other things that he advised me to do, I managed to get stronger, be injury-free most of the time, and when I do have some injuries, it's mainly because I've overdone it foolishly. And I've learned to do things which I can now do on my own, wherever I am, because I know how to do them correctly, and I know what's safe, and I kind of have a pretty good idea of how strong I can get. So yeah, it's been awesome, and I wish I didn't really do a lot of deadlifts before, because I was really scared of them. I thought they would really injure my lower back, which they tended to do because I didn't do them correctly. Mainly because I have really tight hamstrings, something that probably most people would have who have a kind of desk-bound job, office job, where you don't really walk a lot or are in an upright position. So my deadlift, I was really surprised, because the deadlift came fairly late in our training program, only about a couple of weeks ago maybe, and I was really surprised at how much I could actually lift without feeling that I had an injury at the end of this. I mean, I had a little bit of pain, but it was in my muscles rather than in my lower spine, you know, keeping me from sleeping at night. So if you do it correctly, like exactly, and you move back and you engage your glutes and your hamstrings, so if you do it correctly, you'll be fine. And I can nearly lift my body weight now, which is amazing, because I never thought I'd be able to do it. Well, having a trainer is awesome in many ways, because basically one thing it does, it pushes you a lot harder than you think you can go. And that's amazing, because very often I undertrained, or if I didn't, what I did was do a lot of stuff not all of them correctly, but I didn't target like particular muscle groups, and I didn't do it in a rigorous, ordered and sort of logical way for my body. So I think a personal trainer is really great at doing this, at putting order and logic in the sequence of exercises that you do, and also not doing too many of them in one go, which was again a surprise for me, because we often just did half an hour. Maybe I'd stay for 50 more minutes after, then I did some running or whatever. But in half an hour, if you do it with the maximum, with the most weight that you can do at the stage that you're in, you can reap a lot of benefits, great results, more so maybe than if you'd be just dabbling in and out of various exercises throughout an hour and feel more tired for it. That was the first benefit. So you know, a trainer pushes you hard. If he's good, he pushes you hard, and he pushes you hard enough, but not too hard, so that you end up naked and injured. Also, it was great that when I wasn't 100%, Kieran also showed me all kinds of stretching exercises and other ways of sort of making my muscles decramp, using a golf ball or a tennis ball, which pushes really hard in your back, and it's painful, but it does an amazing job, especially if you want to do deadlifts or squats and your lower back is tight and slightly painful. Also, he taught me how to use the rolling foam more effectively than I did before. So that was great as well, and there's a lot of stuff that I can just take home with me and just do it on my own. And I think that's ultimately the great benefit of a personal trainer, is that you can learn things that you can then apply in your life later on, whether it's about nutrition or it's about various kinds of exercises that you do. Because you won't be using a personal trainer forever. I mean, you can if you really want to, but you know, it's an enabling kind of experience, and I think many people would benefit from it, whether for sports or for losing weight or for becoming stronger, or all three of them at the same time. So if you can afford it and you can carve out a little bit of space and time for this, it's absolutely one of the best things you can do for yourself. And Kieran in particular is good because he's good because he will train you in such a way as to increase your strength, flexibility, you know, I don't know, endurance as well, depending on what you want to do. But also do it in a safe way. You're not going to be in pain and you're not going to get injured, which is something that might happen if you just choose to show up in the gym. Nobody shows you anything, how to use the various machines in a safe way. And even if you think you're very proficient and you've done this for a very, very long time, and I had done this for a very long time before I joined, you'd still get a lot of benefit because there's a misconception that you know everything, but you don't. There's a lot of stuff that you don't know, even with all the things that are now available online. It's one thing to see a video of somebody performing it, and it's a completely different thing if somebody shows you and sort of corrects your posture and your body so that you do it correctly. So yeah, it's something that I would highly recommend. It's not cheap, but then not very many good things in life are cheap, so go for it.